Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 49 of Dissonant Waves. I'm Dominic. Ritz is here. Trix is here.
Hello.
Oh yeah.
We got more albums to talk about this week. Well, 2 albums, 2 EPs. We do weird shit as normal. But it is episode 49, which means we are 1 away from episode 50 and 3 away from episode 52. Mark those on your calendar. Those are going to be special events.
Oh yeah.
And then 51's just got to be there. You don't need to watch it.
You can. I mean, we'd like it if you did.
If
But
you want to understand the lore of Dissonant Waves fully, you'll have to listen to it.
Yeah. I'm actually going to finally go in depth about the abuse I handled back in 1960 at the hands of my benevolent employer. He made me wash the dishes.
stay tuned on Dissonant Waves for the thrilling conclusion of this story arc. But in the meantime, we got a very diverse group of musical tracks this week. I think this is one of our most interesting in a while. Part of why I love this podcast. We got, I don't even know, like, it's unclear how you even, like, categorize this band, but it's John Dwyer and Friends doing Witch Egg. Sometimes they're called Witch Egg.
I think John Dwyer and Friends is actually the best genre you can give it.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's unclear everywhere about, is it Witch Egg, is it John Dwyer and 5 other people, or you know.
I'll just call it jazz. Because it's jazz.
It is jazz. I think
It's like improvisational jazz.
Yeah. So and then we got that. We've got JPEGMAFIA's 2 recent EPs because this is a 2021 episode. EP came out in November. EP2 came out in February, and then we got Petite League's Joyrider. Another Petite League episode. The last one was episode 44.
Permission to talk about Petite League first?
Sure? You want to talk about Witch Egg first?
I want to talk about Petite League first.
Okay, let's talk about Petite League.
All right.
This is Petite League's best album by far. I've given it many listens. I gave it the most listens out of any album this week. I'm honestly shocked myself that I love a Petite League album in full stop. This is probably the album of the week for me. This is probably Petite League's album, best album they may ever do, to be honest, because I think like every part of what makes a Petite League song Petite League is executed to its best in this album. And before, I had a clear-cut number one Petite League song with the title track for Rattler, and there's 2 or 3 tracks in here that are better than that.
2 or 3 tracks?
Yeah. My top Petite League songs are gonna just be completely just this album pretty much, and then Rattler and Annie's there.
Oh, Annie's so good. But Trix, you're the Petite League expert. What do you think?
I think that I posted this in chat because I was having like a breakdown at work while just listening to Petite League. And I think that Ripped One Another Night is still my favorite album by them. Musically, their best. It's up there. It's just Ripped One Another Night just has that strong emotional attachment.
Well, here's something that I kind of just thought about this album that just hasn't happened to me with any other Petite League album, and that's I can remember all the songs of this album. Like every other one's had that issue where the songs are kind of just there, and it'll be alright to listen to, but I'll forget about them and have no reason to go back to, except like 1 or 2 tracks. Like I think there was one off Slugger, but I've since forgotten it. No Hitter had Annie and
Geta.
Yeah, and Greta. Rips One had Sundogs.
And here we got Moondogs.
Rattler had the most, actually. Rattler had the title track, Sweetener, and White Knuckle Wildflower or something it's called. Yep. But this one, I'm tempted to say Moondogs is better than Sundogs. I think lyrically it's a lot funner, it's a lot catchier. None of the singles really hit me too hard except for Joyrider, and that one kind of hit me. not as hard as it is now. So that's also why I'm very surprised of how much I like this, because the singles were just okay, and I thought I was
Mhm.
going to listen to this album, and it's going to be like, yeah, this is okay, but Joe Rider, or like one song is a clear highlight, and there is a clear highlight, but like I'm just going to go through this album, just like it's only 10 tracks, so I can. Like Moondogs, great opener. It obviously calls back to a previous opener that they've done, and it feels weird to have it like a kind of opposite name with Moondogs, but it's very like lyrically similar to Sundogs. But
Sort of, but not really.
It's fine. It works well enough, I think.
Yeah.
but instrumentally, it is definitely a lot similar. However, it does feel like they've executed a lot better on here. It definitely sets the tone for the album quite well. Like this is what the album sounds like. St. Michael starts to me with this album really starts to shine. I guess that's the best way to describe it. So if my sentences are a bit incoherent, I'm kind of a little tired. Ugh. And like that has one of my favorite lyrics on the whole album of the "I wouldn't consider myself a Catholic, but anyone who slays a dragon's cool by me." It's Petite League to me, when I've listened to it, has always tried to be quite childish in its nature, but
Mhm.
also like from an adult's perspective. So it's lyrics like that kind of really nail the type of sound that they're going for, or like the type of vibe that they're going for. I'm going to talk about the third track last, because that's just by far my favorite, and I have so much praise to give that.
Can I just talk about real quick about Saint Michael, about how
Go ahead.
on Lorenzo's Instagram he talks about how very specifically when he was growing up in Belgium, like this kind of scene was happening where he and his friends would get drunk and they'd find themselves in front of a Saint Michael statue, where it's like Saint Michael fighting a dragon or whatever. And he just happened to buy a candle one day, and he wrote the song that afternoon.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I looked for a St. Michael candle at my local grocery store.
You okay? You okay there, Ritz?
yeah, just coughing on a bit of water. I'm a shit drinker.
He's got a drinking problem.
I can't chug either. It's okay.
Dark Disco, which I immediately misheard the lyrics as "Walking with you always felt like Ben 10," which just funny as hell to me. Sorry, I consider that canonically. I "Walking with you always felt like dancing" is another fun lyric that's out there. Really hits that kind of garage pop rock sound that they're really going for. And I would consider it probably one of the highlights of this record. But New Tricks is actually also up there as well. With New Tricks is one of the songs that is better than Rattler for me. It's really catchy. It kind of it has that kind of real sad to look like breakup vibe that a lot of Petite League songs have had, but looking at it in a very childish way as well, like referencing a dog with new tricks and trying to sound better about himself. But it's just really fucking catchy. I love the sound. New Spring is probably my least favorite off this record, which is a good thing.
I really like New Spring.
I like New Spring. I'm surprised you consider that your least favorite, considering what we talked about previously.
Just because I consider it my least favorite doesn't mean I don't like the song.
True. I will say it's. I listened to this in Infinite Fields Forever a few times back to back, and just because they're the short acoustic only tracks, I think that while I like New Spring, I think that Infinite Fields is the better one. Sorry, I dropped something off my desk.
Which one's that one from?
Infinite Fields is the better like minute-long acoustic track.
Which album is it from?
Rattler.
Okay.
But New Spring does what it needs to do perfectly, and that's create a point to flow into the next song.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm saying this. Greyhound did not hit me as a single, but holy fuck, does it hit perfectly in the context of this album?
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely, I agree with that.
It comes in the guitars and starts to get heavier, and it's fucking fantastic. I finally get that emotional payoff from the song that he was going for, and I kind of wish it wasn't a single, just because it works so much better at here. And then also, it would be one of the contenders for my song of the for the song of the year list. It's just that good on a context.
I'm sorry. I just think that's funny.
It wouldn't be number one. It would be a lot lower, but it would still be a chance of that. Joyrider was the only single that I liked coming into this. I actually put it in my 200. I think I put it at like 160 or something. It was pretty low, but still, I like the lyrics. It kind of being like a nihilist in such a fun way. Like, I want to feel the end of the world because I'm over it.
Yeah.
Echo and Marathon as well. Yeah, I'll let you go first, Trix.
I was gonna say one thing I wanted to mention about Joyrider is that it kind of came out at the perfect time, single-wise, with like everything with like COVID and the
George Floyd protests.
Yes, and everything. And it really captures just the whole vibe of what 2020 was.
I agree.
And then we got the last two songs. We got Echo, which, yeah, it isn't one of the strong points on this album. I don't consider this album perfect, despite the amount of praise I give to it. But Echo is still catchy enough that every time I put it on in the context of this album, I go the whole way through. I enjoy the song. And then Marathon's just the perfect closer. It kind of, again, captures the whole vibe that this album is doing, but in a more somber note, which this album kind of somewhat needed to end on, but it's also not too depressing that it's like, where the fuck did this come from?
And he likes to end his albums on a somber note, it seems like.
Yeah.
Something like memorable like that. Like, I think that Ghost 1998 is still one of the best examples. Which isn't that much of a downer, but its uniqueness is cool.
Young Bubblegum, I feel like, does that well because the song's kind of like about loss of innocence.
Mm-hmm.
But now, going back onto the song that I intentionally skipped to do last. So, Dominic, you ready to laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I consider Naked to be one of the best songs released this year so far.
Good. I want to see where it ends up.
This is Petite League's best song by far, and everything about it is perfect. Like, it captures... He doesn't say much, but he captures so much in so little lyrics that I can visualize everything he's fucking saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From so little of it. The instrumentation starting off so little. And this is a song that really captures like this childlike way of looking for the world, but being somewhat adult as well. Just talking about a past relationship and it breaking up, and just being as personal as I think he's ever gotten in a song, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or at least captured as personal, like the best way he's ever captured some of that personal writing on here.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple. The line, "It ain't sleeping if I'm dreaming of you," just fucking hits hard. But I think the line that really hits hard, it's just so simple. And you know what it references? The way that he just goes, "It's been a long fucking year, maybe more. And still you stay unclothed," is just how so many people have been feeling in the past year. I don't think there's a line that I'd just rather take out of context than something as simple as "It's been a long fucking year, or maybe more," because that's just how it's felt. And this idea of just like you still stay unclothed, like if she was clothed, it would be considered moving on.
Right.
And then the fucking band comes in, and the outro is just so fucking good.
Yeah, like,
he hasn't ever written a song that has hit me as hard as this song has. And every single fucking bit of it is perfect. Why did it take this long for Petite League to put out an album that was this good? If I knew he had the potential to put out something like this a while ago, I would have been listening to him by my own choice. This is a fantastic album. I am surprised of how good this is.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club, finally.
He joined the club.
I went back and listened to old Petite League songs to see if I had maybe just like what's wrong on those albums. And Rattler ones, I'm still stay the same on. Old songs, I still stay the same on. This is just good. My opinions haven't changed on the other albums. This is just good.
And, you know what? I don't like your opinions can say the same. That's fine. I just I appreciate that we've all kind of finally come together on this album, where I think,
Mm.
Tricks like some more than others. I like some more than others. You like some more than others. There's some of them are kind of the same, but not always. Like, I don't like Rattler as much as you two. We like Rips one, but you don't as much.
Oh, this is weird because I'm pretty sure I enjoy Joyrider more than Tricks does.
No, I really enjoyed
Huh.
Joyrider.
I really enjoy Joyrider. I don't. It's one of their best albums. I mean, there's only been 5, but
It just for me, this is their best. Like I would give Slugger probably like a 4 to a 5. I'd give Rips one and No Hitter like a 5 to a 6, and Rattler like a 6 to a 7 at its best. This is a 9, just a full on solid 9.
all right.
Yeah.
Alright.
I mean, I think this honestly this feels like a transitional album of sorts, where we're kind of getting away from the childhood like surf punk, post punk like stuff that he was growing up with, and like figuring out where this is more retrospective and nostalgic and all that, and experimenting more with like something that's more folksy and something that's more somber. And
Yeah, he seems
Um,
to take each album in a new direction.
I also want to say this, that if Naked doesn't end up being my personal favorite song by him in his whole discography down the line, then it's a good chance that he's won my song of the year. It's that fucking good of a song,
good.
and I legitimately wouldn't be surprised if I feel like at worst it's gonna make top 20 of my songs of the year list, and at best it can make top 5.
There's a lot of, I think, detail that this album catches that I didn't
Mm.
really think about before as much or notice as much. Like just like the weight of his voice in Moondogs, for example, where he sounds very like sad and very like, I don't even know, depressed or whatever about what's going on in the song.
Oh.
Yeah, like you can hear a twinge in his voice.
Yeah, like there's something about that. The screaming and echo, or not exactly screaming, but the backing track at the end there is like a new kind of sound for him. And that's like as much as
It's weird for me to say when I've been saying that like he's captured this kind of childhood innocence in his lyrics and his saying, like in his vocals,
Mhm.
and then to also say that this is probably his most mature album to date.
Oh, I totally get you.
But it is. People who aren't so used to this kind of thing or have listened to a lot of other artists do it might not realize exactly how hard that is to write, and it really fucking is.
Yeah.
Like you can sound like a child, but then also manage to make it not sound like you're sounding like a child
Mhm.
is really fucking hard, because you have the risk. If you could quite easily go too childish and you just go, I can't relate to any of this. He sounds like a
Mhm.
fucking whiny teen. Or you can get way too mature and it just doesn't bring in this innocence that makes this album what it is. Like if he didn't have that kind of vibe with this album, I would be giving it a lot lower of a score.
Mhm.
It's because this is one of the few times I have seen someone try to execute something like this and do it well. And other Petite League albums tried it and did not do it that well as this has done it.
I think that
Like the ending to Rips One in a Night is an example of that.
Ghost 1998.
Yeah, I still do not like that.
I think I agree with what you're saying for the part of like the maturity. I think there are like just glimpses of imagery kind of mixed in with everything else that kind of give it that edge that is perhaps more striking. Like the line of like, ooh, like Chicago House, oh, I'll taste cocaine in my blood in a bloody mouth. Probably like the end of the night. Or probably like the end of a light, twitch in your eye at the very end of every night. Like that's a different vibe than I think what other Lloyds of Sunks go for sometimes.
Mm.
Like that's more dark. It's dark disco, It's more clubby. It's more like it like this. The song is like evoking like a pre-pandemic time, obviously, right now, of like going to clubs and seeing all this stuff going on. And he talks about it on Instagram, kind of like being in like a bar waiting for a friend and having nothing else going on, and like reflecting on that feeling. And from that, this song kind of came about.
And so this is the rarity for me, but I actually looked at a couple of the interviews about this album, during a week. And one of the things that really struck me as odd was apparently "Naked," which I think is the best song off here. I think it was that one was apparently written. It was written a while ago. It was not supposed to be a Petite League song. It was supposed to be like a Spark Alaska revival, which I'm really glad it wasn't.
Also, "Naked" was written around the time of "Rattler," was also what I was saying. Like just after or something like that. So it's like one of the older ones and one of the more, because it has time to mature, because he was going to go personal with it, but made it more Petite League.
Yeah.
It's somehow the oldest, but somehow feels the freshest. Like, fuck,
it's impressive.
It's impressive as shit.
And I think, I don't know if you're giving New Spring enough credit for kind of tying together the entire second half of the album in a minute and a half. Not even.
I said that it did that.
It is doing some heavy lifting.
Just because it's my least favorite on the album doesn't mean I don't like it. I enjoy New Spring. I think it's a good song. It's just that out of all the individual tracks, I just wouldn't go back to it.
I guess I just consider it like an intro to Greyhound. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
Like, it's like you talk about with, what we did last week with, I forget, Hippocampus, the first two tracks.
Look, if we go into the least favorite on the context of the album, I would probably give it to Echo. Mm-hmm. If we give it to least favorite individually, I give it to New Spring. But I still enjoy both songs.
Like, there's just something about... I think it's worth just pointing out specifically, like, New Spring relation back to New Tricks in the title, and then, like, kind of being the tune of Greyhound, but, like, also, like, echoes in there and everything, and it has, like, the more acoustic version of Marathon in there as well. Or acoustic vibe of Marathon. Joyrider is also just kind of there in the middle of all that, and Joyrider is, like, maybe the one thing where I don't know if that fits necessarily with the rest of it. Like,
think of another place to put it on the album.
Yeah, I think it's fine where it is.
I just go from Greyhound to Joyrider, and they're completely different feelings, you know? Like, they sound almost completely, like, different in their, like, audio quality, or whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is kind of intentional with New Spring, because he heavily gates the mic so that he blows it out on, like, the I'll never know, or however. But that's definitely a stylistic choice that I could understand jarring.
And, like, Joyrider kind of starts almost, like, in the middle of a measure, I would say. Like, there's no real intro to it. It just starts.
Yeah, it doesn't have a build-up. It just kind of goes all in.
I think it's fine. If Greyhound kind of finishes and doesn't really have anywhere to fill in.
Sure. I mean, Joyrider's my favorite tracks, don't get me wrong.
It doesn't have any jarring kind of flow to it. I thought it was fine.
Maybe I'm just listening, because I've listened to Joyrider endlessly as a single, so it might just be, like, in context now it's a little weird.
Yeah, I think you and me both had Joyrider as our favorite single, and then Trix just heard Moondogs and like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, this is the best. Just because it was a companion to Sundogs.
Plus, I think Moondogs was the best. I think Moondogs was the best single. But single in the context of the album, I think it would have to go to Greyhound.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Greyhound's amazing. Like, it's one of those things where, again, I think like you said, I didn't really appreciate it on its own as much. It was good, but, like, Joyrider was where it was at. And then in context, Greyhound hits better. Like, oh, okay. You need New Spring. You need New Tricks. You need Dark Disco there.
So I'm going to update my Petite League song rankings, because I'm just going to look at it now. For the top 5 Petite League songs. Yeah. Number 5 is going to be Annie. Number 4 is going to be Number 4 is going to be Rattler, and then 3, 2, 1 is going to be Greyhound, New Tricks, and then
Naked.
Naked. But Greyhound and New Tricks can swap depending on the day.
That's pretty incredible that we just finally reached that synergy moment where we all love Petite League.
Yeah.
It only took 49 episodes.
I realistically probably not going to go back to Petite League albums besides this and parts of Rattler. But
That's
fine. I'm
going
to go back to this constantly. So
I just think this is the most successful example of, like, a band that was just introduced that's not like a Neutral Milk Hotel, where it has like a reputation,
Mm.
and we kind of nurtured it from the beginning in episode 6 with Rattler up till now, where
This is kind of like a King Gizzard, where it took a bit for one of us to for both of you it took a bit for King Gizzard, but it took longest for Dominic.
sure, that's
I
like
needed
that's
Slift to get me into King Gizzard.
and I need King Gizzard to get me into Witch, but that's
It
more
took me
an abbreviated
it took
thing.
me a bit to get into Slift as well, because I wasn't so big on La Planet Explorer, but fucking Umon is so good.
Come on.
I mean, this is more like if we had covered Smash Mouth throughout the episodes, and then like in 2 episodes, the latest Smash Mouth album was like we all come to really really love it somehow.
Well, I'm looking at the artists that you and Trix have brought up that we actually was actually an introduction for the other two, and that we all loved on first listen. I've had a couple because I know you two enjoyed Animal Crat a lot from Big Scary.
Yeah.
But the big one for me was Middle East because you two just got attached to that quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle East is still, I think, one of the best bands we've had on here.
I've had Rainbow Kitten Surprise, which you both liked initially, and
I didn't discover Rainbow Kitten Surprise from you, but I didn't really listen to them much, so I guess we can still count it.
Yeah, well, I definitely introduced it to Domino.
You still got to do RKS.
Yeah, I do. It's probably their weakest album, but there's some good stuff on it.
I don't know what I've introduced to make you both really like it. I really don't know. Like I'm looking through here, and I'm just
it's because there's a lot that you tried to introduce that I had already heard. It's really only Weekend Run Club.
Weekend Run Club, and we all really liked the Algiers album until I think
I've heard Algiers before. So
okay.
I had not.
I feel like there was like a turn at some point last year where it's like I wanted to do the new Algiers album, and you're kind of like, eh.
Yeah, their last one wasn't so great, but their debut was still fantastic.
Yeah, like stuff like I think the Jeff Mangum live album, maybe, but that's still Neutral Milk.
Anyway, do we want to close off Petite League since we talked about it for like half an hour?
Is it really only been half an hour?
It's only been half an hour, but
like
maybe more.
Like I just really like Lorenzo. I like it took me until Reps 1 to really get into Petite League, but
still sliding into Lorenzo's DMs.
Yeah, I mean,
I see him respond to him on Twitter.
For some reason, like we just started talking a little bit. I mean, it's still artist fan relationship, but I do appreciate Lorenzo like responding to me. Thank you, Lorenzo. You make my day when you do that.
No. Anyway, who wants to go first with their favorites? Some of these favorites. I've kind of already been obvious with mine.
This is the easiest one to do favorites and least favorites, I think.
Yeah.
I'll just.
I only have like one least favorite, and that's kind of like Echo. But honestly, Echo's grown on me, so I kind of do like it. But it is still kind of like the weakest track. And best track is either Naked or Dark Disco, and I haven't figured out which one yet.
I'm in the same place. Dark Disco and Naked, well, no, sorry, no, never mind. Dark Disco and Joyrider are probably my two favorites. I think Echo is also the weakest, though it has grown on me slightly. I do think he does interesting things in that song that make me want to come back to it, but it does still feel like a demo compared to everything else.
Yeah. Look, my favorite is obviously Naked. I think that one's going to be high in my playlist the whole year. And then least favorites tied between New Spring and Echo. They both. It both depends on how you listen. Like individually, New Spring, but in the context of the album, Echo. But they're both still great songs. I have little flaws with this album, and realistically, if this was an EP that ended at Joyrider and didn't have New Spring, and even if it had New Spring, it'd still be fine in the context of it. I'd probably give it a 10. So I might have to give my favorite to Echo actually, but
Marathon is
I think
very much worthy of being there.
Yeah,
Marathon
is great.
is fantastic.
It captures the New York winter so perfectly.
And Echo's good, but it's really the that and New Spring individually. I feel like New Spring is a bit more the forgettable side when it actually comes into it, just because the songs surrounding it are so much better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have little flaw on these albums, and we'll see how it goes on the throughout the rest of the year. But don't be surprised if I get past them.
Two things I do want to say real quickly. Number one, it's still amazing that Lorenzo can sound like he does at 26. He still sounds like a teenager, and I think it's just interesting because he's my age. Number two, he did mention that he might release some B-sides to Joyrider this year, which I am very much looking forward to.
I hope so as well. And
I do want to call out. Go on.
I want to just quickly say, I like that for a couple of the songs, he's made single art, even though they weren't singles, and he's tried to keep the motorcycle helmet theme with it. And I really like when artists actually have a proper theme with their singles.
There actually is there is a helmet for each track actually.
Yeah,
that is very lovely to know. But I'd like the one for St. Michael.
Yeah,
it's a very nice helmet.
Also, I brought it up in the chat way long ago, but I do want to know what happened to, because he in the lead up to this album, he talked about having features.
Yeah, and didn't really have it on here.
No features, as far as I can tell. Just curious what happened there.
I do know that also earlier in the year, last year, he promised 2 albums and an EP, I think it was.
I'm gonna guess that Defang was probably gonna be one of them.
Yes, but I have a feeling that if they were like 2 Petite League albums, one of them would have had the features, and one of them would have been Joyrider.
Maybe that's where the B-sides come in.
Maybe.
I also want to. We talk a lot about Lorenzo, but everybody who's done instruments on this album has done a fantastic job. So I just want to give props to them.
I think it was just Lorenzo and Henry
Schoonmaker, the drummer.
Schoonmaker, yeah.
They have a couple live members, don't they?
Yeah. And I think they've been credited on past albums as like doing more. But I think maybe because of COVID, it's just Henry and Lorenzo.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
We mostly go with Lorenzo because he writes all the songs.
He's also the face of the band.
Yeah.
That is Joyrider. A very good album. We move now to... Let's talk about Witch Egg. Witch Egg, for me, is like the perfect gym album, and that I can put it on and be interested by what's there, and then just like go about my day working out, and completely forget that it's even playing.
This is the greatest album I will never listen to again or remember anything from.
I actually really like it, but then again, I'm a bit of a musician and I like jazz, so
I like it.
I think I wrote earlier that I do not enjoy a single bit of this album, but fuck do I respect it.
Yeah, you wrote something like that, and you also wrote like, I love and hate you for choosing this album, Tricks.
Yeah, for that reason. Like, I will never go back to this because it's just not my style. I'm not into this type of music.
Like,
I respect the hell out of everything that's attempted here. I think for going for the sound, I think they've executed it well. John Dwyer is a pretty fantastic musician, and that's really all I got to say about this album because it kind of went one ear out the other.
Like, for an album that's all improvisation and jazz, like it's good. It sounds interesting. It doesn't sound like, you know, formulaic or anything. Kind of like what I said with Joyrider, the first song, Greener Pools, kind of comes in the middle of it and just keeps going, like it's already like a thing in motion. And I think that's cool. But like, if I didn't take notes, I would not remember this album very much.
Yeah, I did not take notes, and I only remember bits and pieces of like, okay, I remember that bass line, that doom, doom,
I remember like,
or whatever.
bow, 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 bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, oh, this bass line sounds kind of like a piano. Oh, this part has a lot of sax focus. I make a lot of mention of sax focus in this album.
Got sax appeal.
It's everywhere. It really is everywhere. Like I had a great experiment where because they talk about how this album is like kind of like what you make in your dreams or whatever that quote's supposed to be. It doesn't matter. But I listened to it while I was going to sleep.
I'm gonna have to try that.
It was interesting. Not as perfect as I would have liked it. It's still a bit jarring to listen to as you're trying to sleep, but
I put on British panel shows to fall asleep. So I feel you.
Like I had to find the right volume level for it to like do anything. But it was interesting, kind of having it there by my side. Like it was kind of comfortable once I got used to it.
Yeah.
The only thing that was really odds and ends after a while was the sax.
Yeah, he does. There is sax all over this album, and eventually it gets to be like hearing like your 30th guitar solo. It's like, yeah, we get it. You can shred.
Yeah, John Dwyer, you're 50 years old. Stop shredding the guitar.
Well,
Oh, what is it?
I was talking about the saxophone, not the fucking guitar solo.
You said guitar.
Yeah, I was comparing it to a guitar solo.
Oh, okay.
Actually, how old is John Dwyer though? Because
He's,
he's been at this for so long.
Late 40s.
That's about right.
I'm genuinely surprised. I thought it would have been older, to be honest.
Oh, here's the quote. Here's the quote. This one is a burner designed optimally for your EcoPod sound system. When you've left the world behind, you will need a soundtrack while you lay in dream stasis. And sure, that's what I tried to do. And like, kind of got it, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The album art's super cool.
Yeah, I think it's got the coolest album art of the week.
Joyrider's pretty cool though.
Joyrider is cool. I'm holding the cassette tape in my hand. Yeah. And I bought every t-shirt they released because they were all bangers.
I have a Petite League shirt in my closet.
Yeah, yours is the Defund the Police one.
Yeah. Need to lose a little weight to make it fit well again, but we'll get there.
That's been quarantine for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot going on with this album. I've been trying to get my father to listen to it. He likes jazz, so I'm like, I got a bit of a noisy jazz album you might like.
You like jazz?
Actually, something that's always that's kind of like surprising for me. My dad was the one who got me into King Gizzard and sounds like that, but I'm pretty sure he's heard no John Dwyer projects, and they're usually quite similar on what they can do.
Yeah, well, I mean, John Dwyer did produce, I want to say, Quarters and I'm in Your Mind Fuzz.
He also has put out a better jazz album than King Gizzard put out.
Yes.
My parents.
I don't mind Sketches of Brunswick East, but it's not as good as this is.
My parents don't really listen to modern music, so I can't really compare there.
Should get new parents.
I mean, you know.
Make them listen to King Gizzard.
What's the one?
I swear it'll work.
What's the one band my dad liked that was modern? Let me look it up for a second. Oh, okay. It was the band Otherwise. That's the one. That's the one group you could probably name from the 2000s.
That is entertaining. My father saw like Red Hot Chili Peppers on their Blood Sugar Sex Magic tour, and now just listens to jazz and boomer rock.
Yeah.
I think the best timeline was I gave my dad 100 gecs to listen to, and he came back to me and he said, "Yeah, it turns out I like that."
Good. Like my dad.
I was like, "Okay."
My dad mentioned
100 gecs.
My dad mentioned liking Lady Gaga at one point or a couple songs, and that's the only Other than that, it's just boomer rock.
The same 5 AC/DC songs.
No, like Led Zeppelin. Like he's a huge Led Zeppelin fan.
So music stolen from black people.
Yeah, like he tells me this story from when I was a kid of when he recited Stairway to Heaven in like acting class or something.
Damn.
Like.
I'm pretty lucky when it comes to my dad's music taste because there's actually quite a lot that we do share. Like I know I haven't covered it up. Covered it on this podcast, but he's a big fan of the Drones / Tropical Fuckstorm.
We keep trying to cover Tropical Fuckstorm, you know.
We do
because it's basically the Drones, and the Drones have been around since like early noughties. And they played a lot on the Triple J, Double J radio stations here, so he listened to it a lot and kind of whilst it was getting released. And then there's like a couple, like he likes the Luca Brasi album as well.
Huh.
Which is a rarity.
I was playing Flying Microtonal Banana in the shower, and I think I only made it through like Rattlesnake and some of Open Water. And my father was like, "What the fuck were you listening to? That was just noise."
That's called a shower, Dad.
That is when you turn on 100 gecs.
And then he's like, it sounded like it was out of tune. It was like, I listened. That was more unlistenable than Trout Mask Replica.
I listened to Trout Moss Replica, like, and after I listened to it, I went to my mom, who my mom had actually listened to this album because you know 70s and stuff. They all listen into whatever came out. Actually, Trout Moss might have been 60s, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, like, she had heard it, and she I think had enjoyed it a bit because a bit of freeform jazz. Who doesn't? And I went to her after I listened to it, and I asked, "Is your generation liking this album just a big prank that you pulled on us?"
My father used to work at a record store,
Oh, of course.
and when it was getting close to closing time, and they needed to get people out, he put on Trout Mask Replica, and they usually took it off at the second song.
Never forget that image of a Kids Bop sings Captain Beefheart.
Oh, I gotta find that.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty
You
sure
did,
I posted it on here.
You did. I said it to my father.
I still gotta listen to that album, but I will eventually, I think.
I've got the files if you want to give them download them and give them a listen, because you can't get them on Spotify and stuff.
I probably buy a CD, I hope.
Yeah, a CD's not too hard to find.
I mean, I'll hit you up if I want
I
them.
picked it up secondhand from a record store.
If we end up covering them, I'll hit you up.
It's a fascinating album. That's about as much as I can say.
Yeah.
So, we've now listened to 2 jazz albums this year.
We might make it a third.
Okay. So,
Now,
what?
I haven't found the image, Trix. I just want to repost this image though because it's fantastic. If it's gonna let me. Now, so scroll up to just search up Trout Mask in this Discord, and click on your fun fact. So Trout Mask has only actually been said 5 times in the server, and all times have been by Trix.
two of them are Trout Mask Replica.
You go on the one that's the closest to the end of July, and that one's just such a great image there.
Like a Trout Mask Replica.
The Sufjan or Free Jazz one?
I think it's the free jazz.
Yeah, the free jazz one before and after cocaine, alcohol, cracking, and free jazz in this Captain Beefheart. And then the next image is a Trout Mask Replica.
I do also like the Sufjan picture there, where it's Christmas and then after Christmas.
Yeah, there's also one that's up above. Is the Savan Stevens song gay or just about God?
Yeah.
But I cannot find. I'll just find it on Google. The Kids Bop Captain Beefheart, because it's a classic meme, and it took me 2 seconds to find it. Because I found this because you can get bots on Discord servers for Last.fm, and you can see everyone on the server who's listened to, and there's an image for each artist, and someone uploaded this image as the image for Captain Beefheart.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Kids Bop sings Captain Beefheart's Trout Mask Replica, and then it just says includes Decal Blues and Bill's Corpse.
I like that cover art a lot.
I really hope Veteran Days Poppy is on that.
Well, if they sing it, it's probably the whole album.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Man, I would actually unironically buy a Kids Bop album if they just covered Trout Mask Replica.
Oh my god. Yeah.
You mean if they got edgy and ballsy? I'd buy a Kids Bop album too if they did something like that.
Just a bunch of kids just trying to perform freeform jazz. Fuck yeah. Also known as a bunch of kids tuning their instruments.
Like I'd like to see them tackle like Flying Lotus or like hell, give them like fucking Witch Egg. See them even try to replicate some of the shit that's on here.
That would be. Well, the thing is with Kids Bop is like it's just the kids singing, and
so it's a cappella like that Bjork album.
Yeah, and so all of the backing tracks is like they pay studio musicians to do that. Imagine having that as like your fucking gig. Like, hey man, what do you do for a living musically? I record the bass line. Fucking Kids Bop.
Which means you just get to play the best bass lines ever.
Yeah.
Going on to Bjork, has anyone seen that video of Bjork opening up a TV and explaining the circuit board?
No, but
goes, this one looks like a little city. Fucking, it's the best album she's ever put out.
We have to cover Bjork at some point. You know, it's as a gay man in his rite of passage.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it is. Here it is. I've got the video, and it's Bjork explains the inside of her TV set, and she does it for 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
I think the edible hit.
Your edible or in general?
My edible.
Oh, oh no!
Like in the whole
I'll
video.
make it. I can make it.
In the whole video, she opens up the TV and explains the whole circuit board. Like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, but who cares? It's poetry.
I mean, her fucking album, was it Crystallize? The one from like 2011, where it's like it accompanies an app that talks about music theory and like how to teach music to kids.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we should cover that at some point.
One of the only post season 3 Family Guy jokes I still think is funny is you gotta guess if this is Bjork or the insane ramblings of Bobcat, and it's like the that's gotta be Bobcat. Sorry, that was Bjork. I like Bjork's music. It's fun to make jokes about it, but she's actually a talented musician.
It's Biophilia, not Crystalline is one of the songs off Biophilia.
Although I've really only heard Post in full.
Post is great. Post is a really interesting genre mix.
Fucking hyper ballad to It's Oh So Cry It. It's like, what the fuck?
But like when she does like an acapella album, I think it's Medulla where she does that. Yeah, that it is. Like that's just
Bjork
amazing.
single-handedly put Iceland on the map.
More or less. I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sigur Rós came out, but they're just a good bunch of tax evaders.
Isn't Low Roar also in Iceland or something?
I still forget who they are, and we covered them.
The Death Stranding band.
Yeah.
Yes, Low Roar is Icelandic as well.
Anyway, do we want to finish off Witch Egg? I've got no favorites or least favorites because it was kind of a blender.
There's no favorites or least favorites. It is a unit. It is a unit.
Yeah.
Peggy time.
Time for JPEG.
Damn, Peggy.
Save that shit like JPEG.
So
this is a genre I don't really listen too much about, but I enjoyed the album. EPs.
It took way too long for me to finally give EP a listen because I loved Veteran and I liked All My Heroes Are Cornballs. I had both fuck, I keep forgetting what the song title is. 1539 and Calvert was my number 100 of 2018, and then I put Jesus Forgive Me, I Am a Foot pretty high in my 2019.
Yeah.
And for some reason in 2020 I just didn't listen to him, and I don't know why, because he's still putting out fucking terrific tracks.
Yeah.
His collaboration with TK Meisler back in 2019 for Awake was a great song for both of them. I probably should have given it more listens. There are some absolute classics on here. None of it which I think reaches the peaks of their of his last two albums, but there's still some great lines in here. I fucking love the line of I don't fuck with kids, I'm not Woody Allen.
Yeah, like I have not listened to like All My Heroes and Veteran or Black Ben Carson for that matter in full. I had meant to, but this week's been crazy for me.
Black Ben Carson I haven't listened to in full. From what I hear, there are moments of edginess in this, which I don't really plan to listen to. Like I think I Just Killed a Cop Now I'm Horny was a bit controversial because it actually has a sample of a cop dying.
Wow. Well, I'll have to listen to it eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And he's definitely matured and gotten a lot less edgy, which is great for his music. It's not to say that he had terrible music back then, but
I mean, he's an internet dude. You know, he is an internet dude. You know, like he has songs about NeoGAF and everything.
Veteran grew so much more on me as it went on. Like, yeah, I don't. My thoughts on NeoGAF dying is literally just him saying, "I don't give a fuck" for 1 minute and 30 seconds. But there was some really fucking great songs of Veteran. Real Nigger, which is actually the title for it. Don't cancel me. There's no I in that. 1539 El Calvert, Baby I'm Bleeding, Libtard Anthem, Macaulay Culkin, I Cannot Fucking Wait Till Morrissey Dies. Some really fucking good experimental hip hop in that.
Yeah.
The way that he was doing sampling and that was fantastic. I remember when the single for Jesus Forgive Me, I Am a Foot came out. and that one was like, well, fuck yes, this is peak JPEG. And now the EPs are out, and there are some great songs on both of them. It is not the highlights of his careers, but they are welcome inclusions in his discography. I find it weird that EP has both Bold and the Bold remix in it.
It's just a collection of singles from 2020.
Yeah. But I love the ending track, Super Tuesday. It's a highlight for me, and I also like Panic Room of EP2. I think he's really continuing on with the style that I enjoy most from him. I'm going to try and go back to listening to him this year because I really appreciate his work. I think he's fantastic, and he's a really fun live performer from what I see as well. And I hear stories. I remember when the news story came out of No Name saying that she wanted more black people to attend her shows, and they were mostly white people, because just white people seem to buy more experimental tickets, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fair thing. It's like, always want to get more inclusivity at shows, and it might not just be a simple issue of who gets the tickets first. Some people might feel, especially in some certain areas, some people might feel more threatened going to shows. So that's a proper story. But then someone posted a story from a JPEGMAFIA concert that they went to, where apparently what he did was he just his first words were saying, "Where are my white folks at?" and got them all to raise their hands. And he seems to really, like, from what I hear, he seems to really know what his audience is, and just completely plays along with it.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2019 as well, he put out probably his best song, which was a collaboration with Flume with How to Build a Relationship. And Trix, if you're not really into JPEG here, I really recommend giving that song a listen, because that is some of his best bars, some of his funnest lines, that "Don't call me unless I gave you my number."
Yeah,
just the way he says that, and Flume's production on it.
I did enjoy the two EPs. I'm not really talking much about them because I don't really have much to say about them. This kind of genre, I guess, isn't for me. Like, I enjoy it.
That is fair.
Like, it's just like, I know, like, it's out of my wheelhouse. I can respect it. I know it's good, but it's just out of my wheelhouse.
Well, I'm saying you might enjoy the Flume song more because there's a lot of kind of wonky production on there, which is a lot more electronic and can kind of fall more under like Odessa. It's not really Odessa, but it can fall closer to that. It might be a bit more under your wheelhouse. And the last thing I was going to say about JPEG, just from like seeing his personality, because this is someone who I think has actually got quite a fun personality to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this interview he did with Anthony Fantano, and he was given the question, who's more annoying? 4chan, like alt-right 4chan racists, or people who keep comparing you to Death Grips? And he instantly went at the people comparing him to Death Grips.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, when it was asked that the alt-right doesn't get to you, he's just like, they're just a fucking pussies anyway. And then went back to slamming on the Death Grip comparisons.
I mean, he's not Death Grips, like.
Yeah, no, it's not. He sounds like there are similarities, but he sounds different.
Yeah, like Death Grips is like probably more in on like trying to be in on the joke and way more like abrasive, like probably like for their own like shits and giggles at this point. Where I think JPEG is very like
the big similarity is that they both completely change up samples in such a similar way.
Sure,
but they both kind of have different rapping styles, so it's pretty easy to tell the difference.
Yeah. I never for a second confused the two. I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned it.
Well, a lot of people do compare experimental hip hop. Like my favorite way to describe clipping is boneless Death Grips. Anything that can be described as boneless is just fantastic.
Trying to find the lyric of one of the EPs where he talks about I said you could touch me, but I never said we could keep in touch or something. That was such a cool line. Where is it?
My relationships are boneless.
I got the joke.
Yeah, I remember seeing that meme. Lesbian sex, don't you mean boneless sex?
Mine was more an asexual joke. Oh shit, I almost fell over. But yeah.
Good
you're allowed to touch me, but I don't want to keep in touch, from the Bald remix. I don't know.
Denzel's fucking great.
Denzel Curry. return performance by Denzel Curry from the Avalanches to hear.
Both Denzel and JPEG in the past couple of years have just been so fucking fantastic lyrically. I mean, and Denzel last year probably had one of my favorite lyrics in a rap song with "If the game is a tooth, I'm a fucking pair of pliers."
You got like Billie Eilish got 4 Grammys. It's frightening.
I think I talked about Denzel Curry's EP last year of Kenny Beats. I'm just like quickly glossing over it outside of recording, and it's something I might cover one day just because I really love the production on it, and it's kind of one of the reasons I love JPEG EPs as well. It's like the production on these tracks are flawless at times.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Dreamcast music run through like a modern filter sometimes, and I love that.
Yeah.
I do think you kind of ruined it for me though by showing me Jesus is the One.
Jesus is the one.
Because I just listened to that as much as anything else this week.
That song is so fucking good.
I had to listen to it a few times, and I watched the Genius breakdown on it.
I watched the Genius breakdown. I also watched the Cave video.
What was the opening lyric? You all better praise God, or I'm gonna slap you in the face, and that's on God.
You all better praise Jesus, or I'm gonna stab you in the face.
And that's on God. And the fucking ending line, like I put my dick in a bag of Doritos and let this bitch just suck the tip.
Well, he said he wanted a pro-life beat, so that's what they got.
And now I understand why my dad left me. However, it was the fucking Genius lyric.
Yeah, fucking a genius. I haven't seen that video in so long, but like they take so little shits. It's fucking funny.
And the fact that he's wearing all yellow against a yellow background.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I will say I didn't like as much an EP2 as I liked EP. Like, I think Fix Yourself is great, but other than the fact that he like made that like that one synth beat that kind of sounds like a trumpet for like a sports show, like dun 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 dun, and he just like remixes it and like just changes it up for each track after that. From Last Dance on is really cool. I don't know. It didn't stand out to me as much besides Fix Yourself and like some moments off other tracks there.
Actually, something as well that I didn't realize just got released yesterday, and if I did, probably not yesterday on Friday.
Yeah.
But if I did, I probably would have actually picked up a Bandcamp Friday. It's on there. It's that the remixed EP it came out for the Denzel Curry Kenny Beats project, which I recommend watching the video for that and the whole like for the original Unlocked, because they actually made like the whole 17-minute project a whole short film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they're going through the computer and stuff, and they go through all these different art styles. It's fantastic. And I just saw when I was looking on Denzel Curry's Spotify, Unlocked 1.5, the remix album is out, and that's got some features from either other rappers or other producers. And the one that's more interesting for me is Arlo Parks is on there. So
I do also appreciate JPEG's cover arts on his Bandcamp, at least. I know they're different for like streaming services, because they remind me
better in his license.
Like EP's cover art on Bandcamp is just a woman on a roof in like a bikini, and it just reminds me of my Consumer Wasteland cover art from my EP. Just so random and just like there.
Shameless self-promotion. On that note, listen to the remix album right now on Spotify. It'll be out.
Yeah, Ritalin remixed. Yes, Ritalin remixed my EP into his own style, and it is great. You should listen to it. Someone should listen to my stuff eventually.
We'll talk about that after we're done with JPEG.
If you want,
I want to explain the EP.
Sure, why not?
It's a lot to explain, but we'll do it after JPEG.
But I'll say JPEGs are our first Trump quote. I think. Was it the Benz has the Donald Trump quote?
Yeah.
I think he's always had like this edgy, jerky conservatism, especially Trump. Like there's I don't know if it's on. Yeah, it is on Spotify. He did a song as a joke called "I Might Vote for Donald Trump."
Yeah, like just I couldn't quite pin down where he was like politically or anything on his stuff.
He's quite left-leaning.
Like I kind of figured, but his lyrics are so like all over the place sometimes.
He's very sarcastic at the conservative crowd. There's no doubt he's left leaning.
Right, considering he was like a veteran, I'm sure he probably experienced a lot of that in the service.
And then he agrees with everybody politically with the song "I Cannot Wait Till Morrissey Fucking Dies."
Yeah.
Did you see that video I posted of the '80s where it's like George Michael and Morrissey in this like a talk show together?
I haven't watched that yet.
They talk about like Joy Division and stuff.
Ooh.
And it's a fascinating like relic of its time where George Michael is pretty amicable and fun, and Morrissey's being Morrissey.
Yeah. We need to do that episode one of these days.
I mean, maybe we could put some more into it. It's like 20 minutes. It's not enough for a full episode, maybe, but yeah.
Well, I'm talking about the joke episode where I'm making a mistake.
Oh yes.
The Ritalin does "I Cannot Wait Till Morrissey Dies" and a Morrissey album.
And we just talk about "Meet His Murder" by the Smiths or something.
Yeah, that's that. I was gonna choose veteran when you did dismiss.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Anything else to say about JPEG? Really, I need to listen to more.
I like it. I think there's some great EPs and welcome additions to JPEG's discography.
I'll say this.
I've always been great into its music, even if nothing's as a full has fully grabbed me enough to be in my top 20 or something like that. A veteran has definitely grown on me a lot since I first heard it, but he's a great rapper. His production on his tracks is always sick. There's nothing here that's so fresh in his style that that's really that interesting to talk about, but he's still executing his sound pretty well, so they're welcome additions.
I like this line from Bald. They fucking up my lyrics on Genius, and these pussy ass critics repeat it. Been the same since even Stevens. So I'm sure we're all fucking up his lyrics on Genius and on. I mean, this is Spotify I'm getting this from, or Bandcamp, but like still.
I didn't get the Woody Allen one 100% correct. I know that.
Yeah, but I will say, as someone who likes Death Grips with a capital L for like, I cannot bring myself to listen to a full Death Grips album. Really.
That is a hot take.
I like specific songs, but I do.
Ex-Military and Money Store are just fantastic albums in my opinion.
Maybe I gotta give it more, but like I from what I listen to JPEG, I can gravitate toward JPEG style a lot quicker.
If I wasn't doing 2021 albums by priority this year, and if next week wasn't something else, I would pick a Death Grips album right now.
I welcome you to do so eventually, whenever you want. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite of this of the two albums is probably Panic Room, and then I like Super Tuesday as well. And I don't really have a least favorite. They're all pretty good and all similar.
I really like Rough 7. I think Tommy Genesis, the feature on there is really great. Her fuck yous are great. My least favorite, probably something on EP2. I don't know, like maybe Feed Her. Like EP2 is overall just does not stand out to me very much, where EP1 is much more interesting. So like, yeah, I do like.
You got any words or?
I don't really have a favorite or least favorite. I didn't spend too much time with these EPs as compared to like Joyrider and Witch Egg, but I thoroughly enjoyed the albums.
All right, so I'm going to assume now that we've done this that me and Dominic are going to have the same albums ranking for the week.
I think we'll have a slight disagreement.
Really? Do you have JPEG last or Witch Egg last?
EP2 is last.
Yeah, I was gonna have it as Witch Egg, EPs, and then Joyrider.
For me, it's EP2, Witch Egg, EP, and Joyrider.
Tricks, have we got a number one that's gonna make Dominic smile and laugh for the next week?
EP2, EP1, Witch Egg, and Joyrider.
Hell yeah, Joyrider all across the board, baby.
Yeah.
Petite League gets, I think, its first official number one for the week.
It is.
Rattler didn't technically get an official one.
Did I don't think No Hitter got.
No, it didn't. Now, before we go into what we're doing next week, which we don't have album choices because we're doing something special, I want to quickly talk about Jerry's remix stories. And Dominic and Trix, please state your opinions on this remix before I talk in depth to what I did.
Trix, talk on it first.
Okay, you're going first.
You talk about it first.
Okay, I'm gonna just kind of spooky. I only listened to it once, and I was like passing out tired, so I have to re-listen to it. But I thought it was spooky and like created a great atmosphere and vibe.
I mean, I had like a mini emotional roller coaster listening to it because like it's me, it's my voice, it's my EP. I still have vivid memories of the production problems that I had during that and the things I wish I could change that I did not have time to change. But I think you did a really good job with what I gave you to make something different, something that fits your vision of what was going on.
So I'm now going to talk about this whole EP in depth because we're not going to have another time to. So the first song, "Apartment Living" with Dominic, is a remix of "Apartment Living," but it might not be something that you realize it's a remix of because it's a remix from an outtake, and it is 15 seconds of an outtake, and the whole song is just samples from that, including the drumming.
Is it me drumming?
That is. There's a part where your mic goes boom,
Oh my god.
and another part, and I got those both, and I made the bass pedal
Oh
with
shit.
that.
Oh shit. I love that.
And then I put in this glitch, like make this kind of glitchy thing out of it, which is like you two having like a disagreement, and then Dominic going, "I'm still gonna kill you." That's what it like
Still
sounds like to
killing
me.
you, still- yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I put in. And then I put in this clap because the reason I put this in, because I wanted to make this album as a joke seem like it's gonna be like this club remix from here, and do the biggest bait and switch by go clap and then into some straight up dark ambience.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make it really surreal like that, and I think I actually succeeded for like how low quality the sound and low budget this EP is.
Yeah.
And that moves us onto the second one, which is actually the first song I made for this project. And this is a very short project. It's 6 minutes 50 seconds, very short. It's the shortest thing I've ever put out, to be honest.
Shortest thing we've ever covered.
Yeah. Sleepify was shorter.
Fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
The second one is Still and Blissful As You Lay. And that's a remix of Still and Blissful, which I didn't talk much about what Apartment Living was. Apartment Living was originally Dominic and Andrew, wasn't it? Was his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like obviously acting as characters, but it was kind of like telling the story of people who like moved into an apartment. I can't remember if they were hosting like a dinner party or like planning to.
Just like trying to celebrate and not being able to open a wine bottle. Like celebrate like moving in together.
Yeah. And I'm out of and your whole EP did have vibes of the two main characters in a relationship having fights with each other, and I've taken that to a new level.
Yes.
And then Still and Blissful As You Lay, because you actually will only hear Andrew on Apartment Living with Dominic. I've completely cut him out for the reason being that Still and Blissful As You Lay is intentionally ambiguous for whether or not he's just killed Jerry or if he's about to kill Jerry.
Mhm.
But you know, it's one of those either stages. And it makes you go into this whole thing. It's like, what has he done or what is he doing? It's a little confusing. You don't know exactly what's happening, but you just know that it's bad.
Mhm.
And that's why I cut out when you go to "Sorry Jerry, did I wake you?" and he originally responds. That's why I cut that out, because I wanted to keep this more like it was internal dialogue,
Mhm.
and the rest of the whole thing from it. And it's the longest song on here. It was the first one I did, and I fucking love it because it's dark as shit.
I appreciate that a lot.
And it's such a I probably did the least effort on this song.
I guess
But it was just so easy to make dark, and I love it.
I guess it says something to my abilities as a producer of content.
And now the third out of 4 tracks. This is the only other one to be done with outtakes. And that's the song "I Want to Express My Opinions, but My Opinions Are Shit," which I just loved. I thought the title was just great, so that's why I did it. And that's a remix of the song the story "Opinionated," which was originally Jerry and Louie is the character's name, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
having kind of like a discussion that turns into kind of passive aggressive arguments in a coffee shop, and I put in like this ambience of the coffee shop behind it, which I think is actually pretty similarly done in yours, if I'm correct. I don't think you have the piano.
No.
And then it's like the stress of Dominic, he kind of going like, because there's a part in the outtake which I repeat a lot where you go da da da, and it has you. It's like you're jittery, and like everyone's staring at you, and it's after you've killed Jerry. So it's made to seem like you're in a coffee shop after you've done it, and you can feel like everybody's eyes are on you.
Sure.
And that's the stress that I wanted to capture in that.
And
then it's so short, but I love how like it's both like you're kind of arguing with Jerry in your head, but you know he's not there, and like you're trying to go like be angry, and then everyone's watching, and you're so stressful with everything. I love it.
I mean, that's just my life. It's just being stressful with everything.
And then the final track, which is actually I think it's great to put this at the end because it's actually the start to Dominic's EP. So I remixed Introduction to a song called The Man Who Needs No Introduction. And I kind of use the same ambience that I did in Still and Blissful, however, it's a lot more simpler. And I have like this kind of staticky instrumentation in the back as well. It's a very short track, but it's put in there and build up the suspense and stress of the whole situation. And it's not only confirming Jerry's death, but it's Dominic justifying it as well. It's just kind of like Jerry's got no future, and this is what happens when a man kind of goes over the top.
Sure.
And that's what I put in there. And then I finish it off straight up with the clap again, just to kind of complete that surreal nature that this EP has got. And that is the remix EP I put out. I've probably explained more than you need to, so you probably never listened to it, but I had so much fun. Most of it was done in one night.
That's fine.
But it's very simple. It's intentionally simple. A lot of it's only using the samples that were given. I didn't really put in much else. The claps, and I used some MIDI instruments as well for the ambience, and some noise. But realistically, most of that is just straight up Dominic, which is why if you go on to Spotify when it's up, you'll see that the writer for it is Dominic Chikoki in every song, because you did more writing than I did.
Yeah.
That is Jerry's remix stories. I might make a number 2 at some point. No guarantees, but there was.
I think I gave you the master tracks, the unreleased track that I did too, didn't I?
Yeah, you gave me absolutely everything.
So my challenge to you would be to figure out a way to like mix that unfinished track, and then do something with that maybe.
Maybe I'll put it into the B-sides of my next album, which I am working on a new musical project, and it's going to be a long time till it's done.
Sure.
I've got no limit on this, but I'm going to be working out with some songs that I've had in my mind for a long time, and hopefully I can make them in an interesting way. Whether or not they're good is a different thing.
Wait, this is
some stuff too. So
this is just the beginning to Animal by Big Scary. What?
I've just copied Big Scary's Animal.
Plagiarized.
I just did a plagiarism.
Hey, don't use the word plagiarized. I wrote that word.
Anyway,
shall we talk about our special 50th episode, and good timing to do this as well.
Trix, this was your idea.
Trix.
Yeah, this was all my idea. Well, I was looking at Discovery, and I noticed that it turned 20 this year. Discovery by Daft Punk. And I'm like, oh, that'd be a neat milestone to cover. We've been talking about doing that and watching Interstellar 555 together too, and reviewing that. Fuck, Daft Punk broke up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are finally going to cover that next week. Not too quite sure how we're going to do it, but we are going to do it.
It'd just be an extended talk about, I think, Discovery, Interstellar 5555, Daft Punk, in general. I think we're gonna kind of make this a different kind of episode. It'll be more of like a mini-sode in nature, maybe, but still
I
considered a
think
full episode.
There's so much to talk about with Daft Punk anyway. So,
And I'll just say right now, since it's gonna be leading from that, I'm gonna after the week after that, I'm doing Audio Video Disco by Justice. Justice being a very similar band, type of band of Daft Punk. Also, that album is having its 10th anniversary this year, so a lot of connections there.
Yeah.
and neither of us are talking about what we're doing next week, the week after, because we might leave that to the next week.
Yeah, because I haven't figured quite out what I'm going to do that yet.
Oh man, those edibles are really kicking in there.
Yeah,
I do have a
sorry,
plan.
I did not expect it to hit this hard.
Anyway, Trix, you want to say your plugs before you completely die on us?
Oh yeah, I'm not going to completely die. I think I maxed out. But I say that, and then like 15 minutes later, I'll go deeper. But
Oh, another brownie.
they're gummies, not brownies. But yeah, I've been Trix. You can catch me on Twitter at procrastronaut_. It's like procrastinating astronaut. There's an underscore. I also made a bot Twitter that just tweets out the word piss occasionally.
Ooh.
So there's that.
All you piss fans, get down here.
Yeah, if you want more nonsense from a synthesized me, you can check that out. And I also have a YouTube channel where I do bass content, and I've got stuff planned.
I have been Ritalin. You can catch me on my website, ritalinforkids.github.io. I also have a Bandcamp, which I recommend going onto and downloading Jerry's remix stories, and then going to Dominic's Bandcamp, dominicchikoki.bandcamp.com, and going and downloading Jerry's Tool stories, so you can understand exactly what I remixed and why it's darker. So that's on ritalinforkids.bandcamp.com. Don't know too much of that.
And dominicchikoki.bandcamp.com.
I also have a website, ritalinforkids.github.io. So follow me on my YouTube, my Bandcamp, and my website, which has no follow option whatsoever. But hey, I do occasionally work in games, and I've taken a bit of an extended break. In fact, I've completely taken a break on SideQuest, but I do plan to go back onto it because I think there was a lot of potential in that project.
Your Bandcamp does have a follow feature. I'm using it currently.
I'm talking about my website.
Ah, yes. Well,
follow him on Bandcamp.
I am Dominic. You can catch me on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. That is DHikoki. I do have a Bandcamp, of course, dominicchikoki.bandcamp.com. I do write for Tilted Windmill Studios sometimes. I'm not currently right now, but you can read a lot of my writing there. I am not working yet on a new project of any sort in the music EP LP realm, but I would like to at some point. I don't know what it would be yet. I would like to help at least.
I do think we will do another EP challenge this year, so do not worry.
I might do something completely different to what I did before.
Oh, my next project, regardless, is going to be completely different. I sent out a demo onto this Discord as well. Not that really helps our listeners, but Trix can give a quick review.
I didn't listen to them yet.
Yeah, it was he was using his Rock Band 3 controller as a MIDI controller, and was like playing guitar lines on that, and like it kind of sounded like this weird dissonant kind of throw together MIDI bass guitar thing.
Oh no, it's just Typhoon Turnpike all over again.
Okay, so I am no longer working on a music project.
I like Typhoon Turnpike.
Yeah, it's a joke. Anyway, Dominic, have you done your plugs? I can't remember.
Yep.
All right, well, this has been Dissonant Waves for another week. We'll catch you for episode 50.
Episode 50.
We'll catch you later.
Have a good night, everybody.